Good morning. I'm glad to be back with you again. And today I still want to talk about life, past, present, and future. And today our topic is going to be race relations in the United States. I'd like for you to understand that the whole notion started with slavery and superiority and inferiority of mankind in this country, based on old fashioned slavery that existed in all other parts of the world for many, many years. People have always found a way to get someone to serve them if they had enough money. Coming to America and finding that sugar cane, cotton, rice, these commodities required a lot of hard labor. And the whites did not want to do that labor, and so they found that if they could steal black people from their country and bring them here and make them feel afraid to revolt, that they could have a large amount of slaves to do their work and not have to pay them. In order to do that, it was necessary to make the slaves fearful and to believe themselves that they were less than the white man. We call that the slave mentality. And that was necessary for blacks to feel that way in order for them not to feel like getting together and freeing themselves. But as time went by, the slave mentality was continued to be in the minds of black people, and the whites continued to say that they were superior, even though the slaves had been freed. The notion of superiority was perpetuated down through, is still going on, and is perpetuated down through my youth. And I remember personally being involved in a situation of white children were more superior intellectually than blacks. The city where I went to school gave every child, black and white, an IQ test. They knew that the white kids would test higher than us because they were superior intellectually. Unfortunate for them, the two highest IQ students were black. The person with the highest IQ in the city for black and white was a boy that went to my school. The person who had the second highest IQ in the city amongst black and whites was me. We were not told about this, and our teachers were sworn to secrecy because the word could not get out that the two highest IQ were black kids. But a teacher told me in secret what had happened, and I was told not to ever speak of it because that would burst the bubble of every white person in the city. Aside from that, parents taught their children that they were superior. And with money and wherewithal to live better lives, the kids bought it. Then they taught their kids. And the idea was, if you're black, you can't come on the front porch. Just simple things that you would think wouldn't matter makes you feel so bad that you know that you're not equal to the person who owns the house. Now, here in the present time, We're still fighting that whole notion of white supremacy. And the people who are perpetuating it do so for economic reasons. Blacks are paid less, they have to work harder or get fired. They're the last hired and the first fired, as the old saying goes. And we are in fear of our own survival still till this day. And those are the things that cause the race relations in this country to continue. Now, it's like the old story where two old people were very angry with each other, and they sat down one day in their later years and couldn't figure out what they were mad about. Well, that's the same thing with the race relations. The children of slave owners and their children and generations on down to now don't know what they're mad about. They don't know why they hate black people. They just do. Now, what we are going to have to do for the future is to burst that myth wide open and show that, as Martin Luther King said, we are not going to stand for being judged by our color. We're going to demand that we be judged by our own ability to live in this world. And that was paraphrasing, but that's what it is. We have to judge that we are. We have to make judgments on ourselves and stop letting other people decide for us. In the future, the children will lead us as they are doing during these demonstrations. They are going to be the ones who get us out of this if we ever get out of it. The world is watching now, and demonstrations are taking place all over the world on behalf of the black people in this country. And that's going to make a difference too. But I ask all of you, black and white, to know that you can do good work for yourselves, but not at the because you have to keep your foot on somebody else's neck. Anytime you hold a person down in the mud, you have to get down in the mud with him, and you're muddy too. So let us all crawl out of the mud, stand up for right and righteous, do what we're supposed to do for ourselves, and do the best we can for each other. And know that in this world, you need not be judged by the color of your skin. And if you were judged by the color of your skin, now white people understand this. Being black has its value, especially when you go out in the sunshine. Black people do not burn up as much as the white skin does. So in that case, black skin is better. But we don't want to talk about who's better and who's not as good. We want to talk about we're all God's children, and we all have to stand up for each other. God bless you. Keep you safe.